Hi everybody and welcome to session 3. I hope that you guys will print out your checklist and mark through things as you go. This will really help you to stay on track and know what it is that you need to be doing. Remember that we have one more optional class meeting the first Wednesday of this module, so if you want to come to that, check it out and come on over to campus and we'll learn how to podcast there. If you missed the meetings but you want to kind of know what was covered, then go down to the section called How to Podcast. You'll see that there's something called the Podcast Workshop Wiki that's linked inside of this module. One of the first, if you go to that wiki, open it up, you will find links to archived sessions where I've done the same session, the one that's done in the live face-to-face session. You'll see an archive of that, so you can watch the whole thing and see the technology we use. But really, you have everything you need to do podcasting at a distance, but do not procrastinate with it, okay? It's simpler than you think, and it sounds a little bit strange, especially if you've never done it before. And so it sounds like it might be harder than it is, but just don't procrastinate, because that's when it'll be hard. You'll start panicking at the end and nothing will work. Your brain just doesn't work when you panic. All right, but back up here. I'm still in the introduction section. Make sure you check out the course plan. I did remove something from it this week. About 3 days ago, I decided to get rid of the Georgia Technology quiz. And I note the reason at the very bottom of the page. I don't want to dwell on it here, but I just decided to lighten your load for a couple of reasons. So that quiz was removed. That quiz was worth 10 points. I do need to go and adjust the way points values work in the class now. I have to go back to the syllabus, rewrite the points ranges based on the new total, which is a -10 of whatever the total currently is. Okay, and that's not an urgent thing that I do, but it might be to you. But to me, it can wait till April. But if you're really worried about it, just put some pressure on me. Send me some emails, and I'll get it done sooner. But that is something I do need to do. Okay, so the warm-up on how we view technology, just enjoy that video. It's funny. Monty Python, a little Monty Python video that I see that video and I can see parallels to the school environment, and I just thought that I'd share that with you. I tried to cut that video off right before it really gets offensive. Okay, so how to podcast. The topic for our podcast in this module is bring your own technology, and you may be familiar with what that means, but I'll go ahead and tell you what it is. It's a sort of new phenomenon where, for years, really, for years, at least 5 years, 5 or 7 years, people have been saying students use technology outside of school and they have access to these great, these devices, and now definitely, everybody's got, not everybody, but a lot of people have access to smartphones that have internet access. And they might have gaming devices, little handheld gaming devices that can access internet, Kindle Fires, iPods, iPads, etc. So they have all these sort of amazing devices that can access the internet, and you can do neat things through apps sometimes that you can download. So why not let them bring them to class? And one of the reasons why not let them bring them to class was the argument that it would distract the students, or it's too hard for the teacher to manage it. But that question has still been asked, why not let them bring these things to class? And so we're seeing this push now in the form of what we're calling BYOT or BYOD, either one. Bring your own technology or bring your own device. I think they're pretty much synonymous. And we're seeing a lot of school districts in Georgia adopt these initiatives, at least to try them out. They're piloting them. As with anything, you've got to try things out, And it's just another tool. It's another tool in the toolkit, Students have paper, pen. They might have a smartphone, with which to look things up. There's a dictionary on them. There's all kinds of ways you can use these devices. So it's important that you are familiar with this phenomenon and you start thinking about it. Start thinking, what would I do if I were teaching in this sort of setup? You also need to start thinking, would I want to? Think about it. Maybe you would like to do that. Personally, since I taught in K-12 without this, the thought of it actually kind of scares me. And it's because I have a little bit of an old-fashioned mentality probably. Some of you might not have any issue with the concept of students bringing their devices. So that's our topic. A lot of teachers I've talked to believe that this is an important topic that I should be making sure that I cover in my class with you guys. And so that's why I'm introducing it for the first time here in spring 2013. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you think about it and hearing your podcast about it. So how does that manifest in the BYOT podcast assignment? Well, I came up with 7 questions that I want you to answer about Bring Your Own Technology. I provide many resources that you are to look at. You're to look at a minimum of about 3 or 4, quite honestly, and then I provide links to many more, and then you can also do your own research in Google and find the answers to those 7 questions. You put your answers in a Word document and you upload it to your BYOT wiki page. That's part 1. You want to do that during the first week of the module, okay? Don't wait until the very end to start this thing. So do research in the first week, and then you should be okay in the second week with doing your podcast. So what is that? Well, the way I teach it is we do a podcast in Audacity, which is a free and a very stable, reliable, trustworthy program that, anytime you read educational technology magazines or you go to educational technology conferences, it's a widely touted, admired program, okay? It's not going to have bugs in it, it's not going to have bad stuff in it. So I that's my way of trying to tell you that, because people are a little bit wary about putting software in their computers, but it's on all of my computers. It's been on all my computers for 7 or 8 years now, and it's great. It's small, it's stable, and it's just amazing. So it's a program you use to record audio, basically. Now, you're going to, I have tutorials for you to help you to do that. The Podcast Workshop Wiki is something that can help you with learning how to make a podcast, okay? On the homepage of that wiki are links to archives of me teaching how you do the whole process. So I urge you to go check that out. If you just want to watch for an hour and a half to 2 hours just to see how the whole process works, it might be worth your time to do that. Okay, and then if you're a speech-language pathology major, you might prefer the TechCast assignment over the BYOT, because BYOT is about it's about whatever you want it to be about, quite honestly. Just because I think it's about something doesn't mean it necessarily is. But to me, I think of it and I think, okay, that's something that would be very interesting to somebody that's going to be a teacher, a traditional classroom teacher. By traditional, I mean a teacher, including special education. But speech-language pathology is a little bit different because you're serving clients, usually smaller groups. They usually get pulled out of their classroom. So I don't know that speech-language pathology will become BYOT or that it has a need. Although I know that there are apps that are appropriate. So it could be that you're interested in that topic. If you're interested in that topic, please pursue it. If you're not, then pursue the TechCast topic, which you'll find a link to in the BYOT podcast instructions, or you'll find a link to the TechCast inside of the BYOT podcast Dropbox. Okay. I've provided a couple resources on podcasting and education, Radio Willow Web and Eric Langhorst. Check those out. Now, podcasting refers to the process of actually making the audio and then shooting it up on the web so that other people can pull it down and download it. Now, I'm not pushing that on you as something that you need to do as a teacher. You do not have to publish things on the web. But I do like to push you in this class to just do that, so you've experienced that whole loop from consumer podcast to producer, because you will have listened to at least one podcast by the end of this, so you are definitely a consumer. But you're also going to be a producer through this assignment. I just want to push you through that cyclical process of publishing on the web. But there are applications and good uses of making audio that can just stay in your classroom, on your classroom computers. So I want you to be thinking about that. What are some ways that you could use this tool Is there a way that you could, would it be useful for students to record themselves in audio? Is there, if maybe as a preparation, a warm-up to an actual presentation that they do in front of the class? Or maybe this is the way they present. Maybe you take a formative assessment of the way your student is speaking. Maybe speech-language pathologists could use it as a sort of a baseline of how the student speaks at the beginning of the semester. And then you can, after months of therapy, you can come back and look at how they've grown. So be thinking about the ways you can use this. It does not have to be done in just the way that we're doing in this class. All right, we have a reading, Roblier, Chapter 1, Educational Technology and Context, the Big Picture. It's a good chapter that just kind of lets you, kind of gives you some history on educational technology and some of the main issues with it, research about its effectiveness and things like that. I also provide some top 10 charts, so like if you're, go check those out. Just scroll through them. They're top 10 charts for like English, so technology integration in English, top 10 for social studies, top 10 for special education or assistive technology. So check out those top 10 charts and keep those handy with you as you go through this semester or even beyond, because they have a lot of good ideas in them. And then once you're done reading the chapter and checking out the charts, I want you to go to your wiki page where you set up the readings page and answer the questions pertaining to Chapter 1. Now, you do not have to turn in your readings yet. You're going to do that in the following module or session 4, okay? So I know people, and it's hard to understand, but you do not have to turn in your readings page just yet. That will be due in a few more weeks. We also have a discussion over Prinsky's article. So go to the discussion board. Make sure you make your first post by the last Thursday of the module, the second Thursday. And I see an error in my checklist that I need to fix. And your 2 follow-ups by the final Sunday of the session. And finally, something that I meant to give you in the first module, the first session of the semester, but I did not, was the quiz over the National Educational Technology Standards for Teachers. I intentionally decided not to give them to you in session 1 because I felt like you had enough going on, especially with the new D2L. So I was like, no, I'm going to wait till session 2. Then session 2 comes along. It also seemed kind of overwhelming after I built it. I was like, they don't need any more than what I've given them here. So I put it here. But what it is it's a really easy quiz. It's open book. So you go read the National Educational Technology Standards for Teachers, and then open them up when you're ready. They're really short, super short. Open them up, open up the PDF of the standards, and then go take your quiz. I think you get 2 tries. And just it's just a way for, it's an activity for you to engage with those standards, to read them and think about them a little bit. None of us like to read standards, and none of us can particularly remember them that well. So this is sort of a first pass. This is you reading them, being aware that there are these standards out there that they're really kind of lofty goals for technology use in the classroom. I mean, you might read them and you'd be like, no way, this is not realistic. And a lot of people think that about the NETS-T, but I think that there's something of value there. And the NETS-T are, something that are endorsed by the Department of Education at the national level, the Georgia Department of Education. Everybody in this, these are the guide for what sort of at least the lofty goals that we should all strive to achieve. So you should be familiar with them. Okay. So that quiz is there for you. It's actually due at the end of the semester in April. So you have time, but I think it will take you maybe 15 minutes to do it from the time you read the standards to the time you take the quiz. Maybe 15. So it's not meant to be super hard, but I did want to let you know about that in this module. All right. Let me know how I can help if you have any questions, and I look forward to watching you take sides in the Prinsky discussion, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say about Bring Your Own Technology. All right. Thanks.